When you're rebating, you'll typically have to raise and lower the saw blade until it's a precise height above the table for the cut you want. The first step is to lower your saw blade, and there are a couple of ways of finding out exactly how high to set it. For example, here I'm setting it at 20 millimeters, lock the saw at that position, and you can see that the uppermost tooth is just touching that thicker line there. Every graduation on the fence is 2 millimeters, and each fifth one are the centimetre or 10 millimetre graduations. Another way is to mark the desired dimension on a piece of wood, lay it against the side of the saw blade, and then adjust the blade until the highest tooth is just level with the line. The edge rebate is a very useful cut in woodwork, and you'd typically use it when you had, for example, a sheet of veneered MDF and you wanted to let it into a piece of solid framing timber by doing a rebate all the way along that edge. It's quite simple to do, and what I normally do is use an offcut of the material I'll be using for my benchtop, for example, and set it up against the saw blade, adjust the saw blade till the highest tooth is just very slightly proud of the MDF. You'll see why in a few moments. And then I've also set the fence so that when I put the MDF on edge against the fence, it is exactly flush with the outside of my saw blade, the right-hand side of my saw blade. Okay, now you can't use a safety guard in this cut, so a couple of things. I'm going to be using my side pressure finger to hold the wood firmly up against the fence just in front of the saw blade. And I'm going to be very careful where I put my fingers. For example, you should never ever trail your fingers behind the work in a rebate cut like this, guaranteed to cause a problem. You should use a push stick or use your fingers on top of the work like this. The push sticks you can consider are one like so. You've seen this before with a little heel on the back to push you through. Or you might want to make one up like this, which is just a strip of hardboard, sandpaper glued on the base, and a little handle, and then I can use this as a grip board, and it'll enable me to push the work through with keeping my hands very safely on top here. But I'll just do this freehand. It's quite a safe cut. I've done this many times before. And you'll notice that I won't be standing directly behind or in line with the saw blade. I'll stand off to one side because this sort of cut can cause a problem with the offcut being flung out towards you. And as you can see, the framing timber is very slightly higher than the MDF, and that's because I had the saw blade raised very slightly higher than this, and that enables me to finish sand this piece without rubbing a hole in my paper-thin veneer. If you are worried about that offcut spearing out towards you at the end of the second cut, then another way of doing this is to reset the fence to the wider dimension for the second cut, like so, and then you can make the second cut like this, where the offcut will fall harmlessly aside to the right-hand side of the blade. If you had the height of your saw blade or your fence setting slightly wrong, you may have ended up with a slight step in that corner. Very easy to fix. Make the necessary adjustment to your blade height or your fence, but in cutting that out, try and run it through sitting down flat like that on its more stable face, rather than standing up on edge like this where it might be a little less stable.